Good afternoon. I believe I'm live. Hi, I'm Unzibe 40K, live from the Institute of Directors here in London, and welcome to the pitch event. I'd like to invite the other panelists who will be the judges for this segment, if they could please turn on their cameras while we go through the rest of the administration for this session. So we have a panel of judges: Mandy, Ade, Audrey, Andy, Michelangelo, and Bola. If you want to turn on your cameras, that'd be fantastic. Thank you. I think we have a full house. The format for today is pretty simple. We have a lineup of 6 startups who'll be pitching. Each would have 3 minutes to pitch their company, at the end of which I'll stop them. There'll be a timer, of course, and there'll be a 4-minute Q&A session where the judges can ask each founder questions. We'll have each of those founders pitch back to back. So before we begin, if I could just, looking at my screen, I'll go around and ask each of our judges if they could, in one word, say what it is that they look for in a killer pitch or presentation. So starting with you, Bola, please, from Ada Ventures.
Look to really assess the team and the market. Those are the 2 things that I'm most interested in.
Team and market. Brilliant. Thank you. Mandy, same question to you. One tech.
Route to market strategy.
Fantastic. And Ade from Forward Partners.
I'd say efficiency of the team, probably the key thing.
Fantastic. And Michelangelo, Slide VC.
I look for a glimmer of greatness in the founder.
A glimmer of greatness. Fantastic. So without further ado, I'd like to invite the first pitch to the stage. If we can have Dr. Liz turn on her camera, we'll move over to...
Hi, everyone. Unfortunately, Liz is in the PRC at the moment in China and can't access this platform because it requires a YouTube or a Facebook login. So I can cover for her if that's okay with everyone.
Sure.
Or, yeah, if that's cool, I can do that.
That's fine, Xavier. So hopefully you're ready to kick off with her 3-minute pitch.
Yeah, give me a sec.
But before we do, Andy, thanks for joining. If you could summarize in one word or a couple of words what it is you look for in a killer pitch, that'd be great.
Massive ambition.
Massive ambition.
Massive ambition and a path to get there.
Fantastic. So you heard all of that, Xavier. No pressure. Your time starts now. You have 3 minutes to pitch. Thank you.
Sure. Can you see the deck, everyone?
Not yet.
Okay.
You can now.
Cool. Okay, cool. So Mimicry is an advanced materials company developing technologies for the future of infrastructure. The purpose of the company is to develop technologies that are both sustainable and improve the lifespan and quality of construction materials for infrastructure, large building projects, and also for residential homes and things like that. So the problem that we're developing, so our first technology is a self-healing concrete technology that's spinning out of the University of Cambridge's engineering laboratory. And the problem is that concrete degrades. Most repair happens after 5 years, and it's incredibly expensive. The UK alone spends roughly 40 billion on just maintaining concrete structures. As you may have seen in the US recently, there's a massive problem with the way infrastructure works. The way infrastructure is degrading. And a lot of this comes because concrete is inherently flawed, inherently fragile. Further to this, concrete is the most destructive material in the world. It damages the environment. It was responsible for between 4 and 8% of all carbon emissions. And that's just in the process as well as the way that concrete works. And because it needs to be replaced after roughly 20 years in most cases, between the maintenance and the replacement, it's an incredibly expensive and complicated industry. Damaging industry. The solution is a self-healing concrete technology that utilizes a vascular system that both strengthens the concrete itself and repairs any cracks that form. All concrete cracks, this technology allows those automatic repairs without any maintenance from anybody. The business model. So currently we're in conversations and working with a number of large infrastructure projects. We have those as advisors, and we're working to develop this. The way that we work is by both prefabricated concrete structures such as railway sleepers, as well as bespoke solutions for large projects such as dams and power stations and things like that. Market size. So in the UK, all construction work is 110 billion, and as I mentioned before, the repair of concrete annually is 40 billion, and it's a growing market. If you see things like the US and China, it's growing substantially all around the world. Competitive analysis. I'm not going to go through all of this here, but the key thing is that Mimicry is no maintenance, allows for multiple healings. It can deal with all sizes of cracks, which other technologies in this space cannot. And it not only repairs the concrete, it also strengthens it from day one. So development traction, we're currently at TRL4. We've developed an ugly prototype. It's validated that it doubles the lifespan of concrete, as well as I mentioned, increases the strength and reduces the fragility. We're also in conversation and working with a number of people on the right-hand side. So here's the team. So as I mentioned before, Liz herself is unable to be here. She's the original inventor of this technology. We've brought on recently a CEO, Arta, who's also from the University of Cambridge.
Thank you, Xavier.
Sorry, very quick.
I'm afraid that's all we have time for, but thank you so much. So over to Q&A. We have 4 minutes on the clock, and who'd like to go first? Over to the judges. Thank you.
I'd like to ask a quick question. That's okay. So in this industry, it's traditional that you go through a delivery partner, so like a Turner & Townsend or a Mott MacDonald. So how are you planning on getting to HS2, and how are you planning to get into TRL level 8?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mandy. So I didn't get a chance to talk about delivery partners. It was a very quick pitch. So through this, we're already in conversations with Mott MacDonald. One of our advisors is the head of innovation and entrepreneur in residence for Mott MacDonald. It's where we're building this process. So there are a number of different ways that we can do this. It's either by developing a prefabricated solution that then adds to the specifications for example, in train lines that need to be, that are very, very crucial, for example, and then we develop in this solution, these prefabricated ones that they may increase the cost, but they will also increase the longevity. So that's what we're in conversation with people like Mott MacDonald and with HS2 for example. There are a number of different layers to this, and it's probably not enough time to talk through this right now, but we are either working with the people who develop these, let's take railway sleepers, for example, people who develop these, or we're developing with the specifications people, which is the people like HS2 or the, let's say, Network Rail or somebody like that. And then there's a layer of people in between that, and all of them are in that value chain. The way that we've, got into that and started doing this is by building out this customer advisors that are already working on this, and we're developing everything we do with the end users, end customers, and end decision makers in mind.
Thank you.
Can I jump in next? How you doing, man?
Yeah.
What is the production time compared to the standard concrete that's out there?
Yeah, so the way that it's developed, prior to the actual concrete, there is development time. So there's a manufacturing to build the vascular system. But for the actual construction industry, it doesn't add any time at all, because they're already fabricating in a bespoke situation. They're already fabricating. It's just a thing that gets put into the mold, for example. So it doesn't add any extra time to the process. It's an extra layer. And this is already being done with things like fiber optics and different bits of technology that go into a lot of concrete currently.
Hey, Xavier, good pitch, and thanks for that. Question, who owns the IP? So you said that it spun out of University of Cambridge. Where does the IP sit?
Yeah, so the IP sits within the company. So the technology was developed as part of a PhD and is now being spun out of the university. The university has a stake that's currently being discussed at the moment within the company, but it's looking like that will be low single digits. Thanks, Andy.
We have time for just one more question.
All right, I'll go in then. What is something, since the pitch was so short, what is something that you wish you could have talked about that you think is relevant for us to know?
I'd have loved to talk more about the team that we've got with Mimicry.
Go
It's
for
an awesome set of team. Liz, who couldn't be there, fantastic, brilliant person, great PhD out of the University of Cambridge. We've also got the head of her research group, which is Professor Rabir, who leads the research group, which is the geoengineering research group in the engineering faculty. And then the CTO, Livia, and Arta as well. It's all an amazing team, but Livia is the most senior postdoc researcher in that group as well. And Arta is successful entrepreneur, multiple businesses, and a really great cohesion within the team as well. Just really unfortunate timing that I'm the person pitching and not them.
Thank you.
You got it in the end, and with a couple of seconds to spare. So thank you so much, Xavier, and thanks to the judges for the questions. Virtual round of applause as we invite our next pitch to come onto the stage. So we have Abraham from Go Captain. So if you'd like to set up your screen and your time, your 3-minute countdown starts now. Thank you.
Yeah, hello everyone. I hope you can hear me. Let's go to mine. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, good. So
Loud and
thanks for
clear.
having me. I'm Abraham, founder, CEO at Go Captain. At Go Captain, we are a finance platform providing buy now, pay later or zero interest driving lesson finance to Gen Z consumers looking to save on driving lessons in the UK. Yes, I've just explained that. The next slide is this is how it works. So we have a platform wherein we connect the learner drivers to a third-party lender. We don't currently lend directly ourselves, and we just introduce the learner driver to the third-party lender. The application process takes place via our platform. The user puts in their information. They can then decide how long they would like to split the amount of finance they would like to take to learn to drive. And once this is approved, the funds are then transferred directly back to the driving school, and then the learner driver can start to learn stress-free. This is the size of the industry. So generally, the finance industry is worth over 880 billion in the UK. Driving school itself, 1.5 billion is spent on driving lessons in the UK annually. This was pre-COVID, and 1.5 million, and there are 1.5 million learner drivers each year in the UK. Again, pre-COVID. Timeline. So we launched 2019 of October, so almost 2 years now, and we've run a few pilots on our platform. We currently have over 1,000 customers in our waitlist, over 200 independent driving instructors, and we have a third-party lending partner based in Wales. They're a bank, and they basically source the loans for the driving lessons and for the learner drivers. Our direct competitors. So we don't necessarily have direct competitors in the driving school industry per se. We're the first to do this, or we're trying to be the first to do this. But we do have indirect competitors, and as you would have guessed, the likes of Klarna, PayPal, and Zilch. And how our competitive advantage is basically we want to focus on encouraging responsible lending, so providing lending services to consumers when it matters the most rather than when it's wanted. So the likes of Klarna and Zilch, help you split the cost on a pair of jeans online that you want to buy online, but we want to focus on providing finance solutions when it matters, i.e. learning to drive and enhancing the life of the individual. We also, another huge competitive advantage for us is basically trying to partner with the bigger driving school partners, to basically build trust with them now, so that when competitors do come in, the likes of Klarna, we would have already had that relationship with in place with driving school franchises and instructors. What's changing in the world and why Go Captain? So myself and David, my co-founder, are first of all, we're Gen Z consumers. Open banking allows us to.
Thank you, Abraham, for that pitch.
Okay.
We have run out of time. If I can ask the judges to please ask their questions, I'll start the 4-minute countdown. Thank you.
That's fine.
Oh no, go on. Okay. I want to understand a bit more about the customer desire to use you. So Why do customers love using you? 10K MRR seems really decent, so well done. So I'd like to learn a bit more about that.
Okay, no, we haven't generated that yet.
Oh.
We're planning on doing that. So just to be very clear, right, we're pre-revenue. So in regard to, yeah, so we currently have over 1,000 customers. So I'll just explain why they will use us. We just make learn to drive more affordable and accessible, right? The average cost of learn to drive in the UK is £1,300, and most Gen Z consumers don't necessarily have that to spend, right? Especially after COVID. So we just allow them to actually, instead of spending £1,300 to learn to drive, why not split that between 3, 6, 9, or 12 months, right? And also the average time to learn to drive is 6 months in the UK, but you can also learn to drive under 7 days. And the main reason why most learner drivers don't learn to drive under 7 days is because they can't afford to pay it up front. So with a service like ours, we can actually do that. And
okay, thank you.
That's right.
So I've got a bunch of questions, but we'll start with one, then maybe we can circle around because of time. Michelangelo asked before the previous pitch. So you ran out of time. What was something that you wanted to share that you didn't get to share, just so we have more context, I guess, for these questions as well?
To be honest with you, I think I kind of got through the most important bit, which was basically how the service works and the value proposition. So everything else was just...
Sure. Business model. So maybe I missed it. Business model.
The business model. So we don't currently lend directly ourselves. We behave more like a marketplace platform. So we introduce the learner driver to our lending partners. It's a white label lending service. So the application process takes place on our platform. And whenever a loan application is approved, we then split that 80-20 with the driving school. So for example, £1,000, the driving school gets £800. And then that's 20%, should I say £200, is then split 50-50 between ourselves and the lending partner. So basically we make £100 per £1,000 loan.
Thanks for the pitch. Very interesting, very clear. Probably a good time to raise for something like this as well. One question is, what does growth look like for you? What's the next phase? Because obviously this is pretty straightforward, but if you wanted to take to the next level, what are you trying to do?
So the next level, definitely for the next 3 to 5 years, the plan is to be able to build basically a finance marketplace platform that basically helps learner drivers, that helps focus on Gen Z consumers accessing and managing their most important finances. So now we're doing this by enabling them to save on driving lesson finance, but then what happens after? They'll probably need to buy a car. They'll probably need to get car insurance. So we want to be the go-to platform that actually helps them do this. And we then do this by plugging into car finance providers, car buying platforms and car insurance providers. So we just want to be like the tunnel wherein we bring learners in and Gen Z consumers in, basically. Starting with driving license.
I'll jump in then. How do you need to expand the team? What's your next hire considering this next step that you want to accomplish?
Yeah, so definitely our next hire would definitely bring a CTO on board and a marketing person, also one head of growth to basically help work on the business full time. Myself and my co-founder David, I'm full time on the business, he's part time, but hopefully if we can raise funding, we should then be able to focus full time on the business.
Great pitch, Abraham. Just a question from me. Why did you decide to focus on, because your vision is Gen Z, kind of providing financial growth for Gen Z. Why did you decide to focus on this category? Why did you decide to focus on it?
Yeah, because first of all, we're Gen Z founders, right? So we're creating a solution to a problem we have experienced firsthand. And we feel like in regards, putting the driving school aspect aside, there are no financial solutions out there focused at Gen Z consumers, and we want to be able to build that platform that helps them access and manage their most important finances, starting with learning to drive.
Abraham, thank you so much, and thank you, judges, for those questions. And a virtual round of applause. I'd like to invite Elena from HX Lab to the stage, please.
Hello.
So, hi, Elena, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
Brilliant. So you have 3 minutes on the clock and your time starts now. Thank you.
Yes, just a second, I'm just trying to, not really sure how to, apologies, I've never used this platform before. I'll just share my screen this way, if that's, can you see the pitch? Just to.
Yes, we see it. I did another 10 seconds to give you time.
Okay.
Okay.
Apologies, sorry.
Start now. Thanks.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so hi, I'm Elena Chishmiju, and this is the co-founder, Matthew, of HX Lab, and I'm presenting to you the future of brain scanning. Our innovation basically allows businesses to gather insight into the customer's mind efficiently, non-invasively, and also without compromising on the quality of real-time and predictive data. Brain scanning technology allows for real-time testing of subconscious emotions, from anxiety to stress to immersion during any scenario, but due to its recent move from academia to business, the methodology is really outdated and really unsuitable for commercial use. The main limitations that we've seen with this technology include a long setup time between the users, pre-existing knowledge and data analysis, and third-party hiring. And basically, our solution is to remove these limitations through the use of our low-contact brainwave scanning technology and machine learning integration. In short, our scanner is an engineering innovation with neuropsychology at its core, with a focus on the end user, which allows for a quick, non-invasive, and accurate data collection and interpretation. Our technology really beautifully fits into large sectors that really require this type of data, and insights such as market research, recruitment, and the creative industry as well. Brain scanning has seen a significant improvement over the past decade, and alongside advancements in neuroscience, engineering, and machine learning, our product really is the next natural step in this industry. At HX Lab will be using 3 commercial models: individual product selling, software subscription, and licensing of both of those, not only in our core markets, but also in our outside sectors. As you can see, the markets are huge and there's so much opportunity and the need of big data over the next couple of years. In comparison with our competitors, our technology really provides unique, real-time, and predictive data, largely done non-invasively, and performed in very unique scenarios where the previous brain scanner was really impossible to use in. And also, our team is multidisciplinary, from both of us being scientists to serial entrepreneurs, as well as our commercial and scientific advisors, who make a really good rounded team that will successfully bring this product to market. Currently, we're using a milestone approach, and we have recently secured an Innovate UK grant that will allow us to patent and create the first prototype within the next 6 months. We've already gained a lot of customer traction in the key sectors and have received a lot of awards for the innovation. And we are currently looking at raising around £250,000 of pre-seed investment to bring us to milestone 7 and reach TRL 5.
Thank you, Elena, for that presentation. Over to the judges for the 4-minute Q&A, please.
Thanks a lot for that pitch. Just got one question, might be a silly question. Where does GDPR fit in and user permission with something like this?
Yeah, that's something we really do think about. And with user permissions, we make sure, particularly at the beginning, that everything's fully informed consent and everything has full permissions, and it's in a usual sort of maybe market research or user feedback or anything like that. It's all written permission, everything fully explained, nothing's taken without any consent at all. It's a key issue that we're really keen on.
How long will it take you to get to market?
We're aiming in the next 12 to 18 months. So in the next 6 months, using the Innovate grant that we've received, we're looking at patenting our innovation and making the first ugly prototype. And in the next realistically 12 to 18 months, we are looking to actually bring it to market.
Hey, great pitch. I'm struggling a little bit to understand exactly how it would actually look like. Can you walk me through how it would work in a real life scenario, like instead of surveying, how it would actually look like?
Yeah, no problem. So we actually want to create a physical product, sort of like a chair, salon chair kind of type. That was kind of our main idea.
Or a movable one.
Or a movable one, where the user would just go in, be as relaxed as possible, not have anything touch or obstruct, and then the testing will be done, and then they can just leave. So they don't have to actually do anything. You don't require anyone to set it up or actually analyze the data. The person can just go in and leave, and depending on the result, is very digestible, and that's the software that we will be using to make what comes out of the data a most understandable and digestible format for anyone with any skill level.
Yeah, and physically it will most likely just look like a bubble around the head. Super easy to wear and get into. It's
yeah, and it doesn't obstruct what we've seen with the competitive products that we've used ourselves, is that they just make you feel weird, and the data that you get is not very accurate and is not really representative of how you're actually feeling, because you have that added anxiety and discomfort, and that's what we're trying to limit.
Okay, if no other judge jumps in, what kind of data are you getting then on the human behavior?
So what a brain scanner can actually analyze is just emotional data. So from stress, anxiety, exactly pinpointed to the second when it happens, why it happens, and what responds to a certain activity or a product it can be. And how it comes back, it can just come back as a report. So in an advertisement, it can say at second 5 to second 10, this user was stressed, or this user was not immersed or anxious, or, depending on the emotion.
Yeah, and it's great for comparing. If you're developing a product or an advertisement or anything like that, you can have two different versions. You can test them both and see which ones elicit a kind of emotional response that you're looking for.
Very quickly, so who would be the typical customer to use this?
Main customers that we've seen, and recruitment companies, market research companies, anyone that really wants to know how the customer responds.
Yeah.
In the terms of recruitment, we are thinking of doing projects to end bias during interview and recruitment processes. Also with market research, depending on product advertising, that sort of just. Those are the customers that we've seen so far.
Thank you so much, Elena. A virtual round of applause.
So
we are at the halfway point, and the judges have the unenviable position of having to review all 6 pitches. So while we're waiting, or rather, can I just invite the 4th pitch to the stage? We should have Sahib. Okay, fantastic. You're ready. So Sahib is going to talk us through and facts. If you'd like to share your screen, the camera, rather share your screen, and the timing starts now.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Sahib. I am the founder of And Facts. We're a market insights platform to help small businesses better understand what their customers want. So there are 400 million small businesses globally, and businesses in sectors like e-commerce are growing at 50% year-on-year rate. However, 60% of new businesses fail within the first 5 years. This is an economic loss of £15 billion per annum to the UK alone. So why is this? The small businesses don't understand what their customers want. They have limited resources internally, so they're not able to fully analyze the market. The internal data isn't representative of what's happening in the wider market, and existing solutions cost thousands of pounds. We've been speaking to users and they mirror our findings in terms of taking months to get nowhere, taking all weekend to go through websites, or in some cases, they've got nowhere, so they've used their university research from 3 years ago to set up a business. So what's the solution? So Unfacts is a platform that provides the right insights to small businesses through an easy-to-use platform. We cut the process from months to weeks. We provide them with access to insights like 5 billion daily Google searches, and as a monthly subscription, our platform is 10 times cheaper than buying reports. So we can look through an example like Joe, who runs Rugged Nature. Through the platform really quickly, he can find what products he should be focusing on next quarter, and validate his product range as well, so he can see that certain products have 60% more demand than other products. and he can also get a better view of the whole market. Joe right now doesn't sell beard growth oil, but this is something that he can focus on given how much demand there is for it. We've got over 40 businesses like Joe's using the MVP right now, which is in closed beta. We're seeing 70% week-on-week growth, and 85% of our users find our insights valuable. What's really interesting is that the likes of Unilever, Havas, MediaMonks are actually expressing interest in utilizing our products. And what's really exciting about what we're doing is we're building a whole ecosystem where we integrate multiple data sources, multiple platforms like Shopify, and to provide amazing insights like benchmarking and competitor insights. And we have a massive global market opportunity as well, of over 12 billion. Our initial focus is on the e-commerce industry. However, the overall market research industry is worth over £53 billion. And in terms of where we fit into the market, there are existing amazing tools out there, but they're all focused on internal data. And internal data doesn't tell you anything about all the missed opportunities, and all the market insights solutions available out there are focused on enterprise. And their data, by the time it gets to report on a desk, is actually 3 to 6 months old. So behind the scenes, we have a team who's really passionate about what we're doing and has a lot of experience with data. Myself, I'm a chartered accountant by profession with a career in banking where I focus on data-driven strategies. As our lead data scientist, we have Dr. Yemi, who has a PhD in data analytics. And he's built machine learning models for LD and National Grid. And as a key advisor, we have Professor Mark Hart, who has over 40 years of experience in building in researching small businesses, and is the academic lead of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses Program. We're raising 500,000 to help us achieve £1 million ARR and market fit. Predominantly, that will be spent on growing the team and helping us get to the next level. Thank you.
Perfect. Our first pitch within time. So thank you, Sahib. So over to the judges for questions. We have 4 minutes on the clock. Thank you.
Hey, Sahib, thanks for the pitch. It was interesting. Can you talk to us a bit about traction, about current traction today? So you say you've got some companies. What are they actually, and what's the business model like? What are they actually paying for? So they're paying, when they pay, how are they using it? Are they consistently using it? Come month two, what have you seen?
So we're still quite early. We only launched about 6 weeks ago, but they're using it regularly, what we're seeing, and they're using it to better understand their market. They're searching different products, they're searching new products they can launch, and they're trying to get to the bottom of what are the good opportunities for them out there. And what the amazing thing is they can start validating their previous assumptions. So where they've lost stock or not gained any money, now they can see exactly where the market is at. And our data actually proves a lot of their successful products, which is good validation for them on launching their next successful product.
So sorry, go on, Andy.
So I just connect the question. So on that point then, because this is external data, right? So are you putting in internal data as well? So if I see my sales are down, I can then get an overview of the market and see if like search or interest is down in the space as well.
So that's literally the next thing on the roadmap for us, is integration with Shopify, where we can pull internal data and see if it's down, why it's down, and start recommending things as to what you can do to push it back up.
Sure, thanks.
So my question is, my sister runs an e-commerce store, and they use data quite a lot in their business. Mm-hmm. They rely pretty much on Shopify, and they are quite satisfied with Shopify. Mm-hmm. So how would you, because Shopify is free, right? So as a small business, every expense, right? Every expense has to be really important for them to spend. What is the 10x value that you're providing as compared to what they're getting free of Shopify or Google Analytics?
Sure. So Shopify and Google Analytics focus on her internal data. So what her existing customers are doing. If she wants to launch a new product, or she wants to find out what products her customers are buying, that's not in her current range, she has no data on that. So we give her that data, that insight to see, okay, where are the missed opportunities in the market? Because for any business, existing customers only bring you so much business. You need to grow your product range, you need to grow your new customers, and that's what we help with in terms of growing the business and pushing it further and further. So that's where the 10x value that she'll gain will be.
So if I may, so an alternative way that she's doing that right now is that they're running ads on Facebook, right? They're running ads on Facebook to be able to source demand. And the scale they're able the scale that they're able to do is by actually putting the products they actually want to sell and seeing whether there's demand on that. So that's like as grand truth as you can get.
Sure.
How what's your feeling to that? How does your vision compares to that?
Yeah, so it's probably taking her several weeks and several £100s of testing on ads to get to that point. With us, she can have 1 month subscription and find that data within minutes. So she doesn't need to wait and then experiment and find out how the market is moving. We have that data. So she can explore a lot more opportunities that maybe things that she hasn't even thought of. And that's a key thing where we're finding a lot of value from our users. We bring out things that never even occurred to them that are actually on the minds of their customers. So it's a lot more valuable in that sense as well.
We have time for one final quick question, if anyone wants to get one in.
Yeah, just a quick question. Could you just summarize your business in like one sentence?
Sure. We're a market insights platform to help small businesses better understand what their customers want.
Perfect. 1 second to go. Thank you so much. A virtual round of applause. So and appreciate the timekeeping.
Thank you.
So next, penultimate pitch. I'd like to invite to the stage Jasmine from Ohana. If you can please share your slides. Your countdown starts now.
Thanks so much. Hopefully you can see my page okay. I am Jasmine, the founder of Ohana. Ohana is an all-natural plant-based skincare routine that utilizes the benefits of CBD to put your well-being first. I was diagnosed with MS in 2015, and I looked to slow down the degeneration of the disease. And since then, I have been able to successfully control my symptoms through the use of CBD and a well-balanced lifestyle. Ohana is my way of sharing the lifestyle changes of CBD with others, and offering a daily dose of self-care and the opportunity to put your well-being first. So our original mission is to empower Europe's population of women living with an autoimmune disease with self-care tools, bridging the gap of education between allopathic medicine and holistic health. On my personal journey, there was a lot of contention with my doctors on how I wanted to proceed with some of the disease-modifying drugs on offer and what I would be able to do, and the choices were just a bit tense. So since then, what did we do? We came to the market with some innovative formulations. We used formulation scientists to produce 3 really, really great products: the Daily Defense Serum, the Night Repair Oil, and the all-in-one Wonder Balm. Our community have been using this as part of their self-care practice for the past 12 months, and we have been getting great feedback. So why was this an opportunity, and why did I look at CBD beyond my passion? It's a huge market. It is larger than vitamin C and vitamin D combined. It's rapid growth, so topicals are the second biggest growth sector of CBD. As we can see, continued legalization. Some clinical trials for cannabis was actually just gone through, and it's the fastest growing subsector in the wellness sector. However, working with CBD is so difficult. It comes with a multitude of challenges, and we are very, very, very early onto the market. So over the last couple of months, as we've been building our community, what I've been really been thinking about is, are we impacting women's health and the daily lives of people with autoimmune disease as best as possible? Are we really getting to the root of the problem? So from that, and speaking to our community, we have elevated our mission. So we now want to build an app. We want to streamline how we report symptoms in a way that is easily digestible to your chosen health practitioner, to identify the root cause, resulting in a quicker diagnosis and an earlier treatment to improve long-term outcomes. There are a multitude of women's healthcare issues that take years and years and years to be diagnosed. We are really, really being left behind. There are 4 million people in the UK living with an autoimmune disease. 80% of those are women. This is growing 9% year on year. This is an absolutely horrific stat. There are 20 million people in the US living with an autoimmune disease. 80% of those are also women. The market. So
Thank you so much, Jasmine. I'm afraid that's all I have time for.
No worries.
Questions, please, from the judges.
Quick question from myself, Jasmine. Great pitch, and love and resonate with the concept. What is your current route to market strategy? And secondly, when is the best time for a client to use your product?
So the best time for a client to use our product will be from first symptom. So as soon as they have a symptom, they will be able to log and track their symptoms on the app and take pictures. So when you actually go to your chosen health practitioner, like your GP, your neurologist, your gynecologist, you're going to be able to actually say, this is my tracking system. This is what I've been experiencing, instead of going to the doctors. So we did a survey on 100 patients and 100 doctors, and the biggest feedback that we've had is that people go to them and say, oh, my ear hurts, but then they're touching their forehead. So the way in which we're conveying our symptoms to our practitioners, there is a big disconnect. So that needs to be some better synergy, basically. What was the other question? Sorry.
The first question was
our route to market. Okay, so what we're really, really good at is being community focused. So we have taken all of this feedback from our community. We hosted our first festival last year and sold out 300 tickets for Ohana Wellness Festival on International Women's Day. Our content and connections and building trust. So we will build up to be one of the recommended wellness apps from the NHS library.
And I'm going to be very cheeky. How much revenue have you generated?
We have generated £50,000 through our skincare routine, but this app is completely brand new. So this is something that we are starting. But however, we've also started it to increase monthly recurring revenue, because through the app, we can get more subscriptions. We can so from the beginning as well, further down the app, further down the presentation was our route to market. So we will set it up from the beginning that it's applicable from each different location. In America, obviously, they're used to paying for that. We have seen the biggest surge in private healthcare since 2008. However, having an autoimmune disease doesn't allow you to get private healthcare. So this is also a bridging gap. So most of the VCs that I've spoken to so far are really looking at how we can pay and how we can increase spending in the femtech space and for healthcare. So we are much cheaper, more accessible, and more content, and we're going to revolutionize women's health and make it better. We're a community that have been forgotten. There is big, massive data gaps. The femtech space, the total addressable market is half the population. We need to be doing better. And as you can probably tell, I'm very passionate about this. So I will let room for other questions. Sorry about that.
Hi, Jasmine. Can you go over the team really quickly a little bit more? You've talked about yourself a little bit, but also about the rest of the team, since there are other people.
Yeah, so we have a part-time PhD specialist from the University of Oxford who is doing a degree on cannabis, as well as a PhD student, another one from Oxford, actually, just acting as an intern. However, I am a recruitment and headhunt specialist for 8 years in my previous career. We have outlined every team member from every app and from every health and wellbeing app recommended for the NHS, ready to headhunt from those teams to build the tech for us.
Thank you.
Finally, those 7 years of recruitment are going to come into use. Woo!
Hello, Jasmine. Great presentation. I guess could you give some color on your community in terms of how many people you have in your community? How, what's the engagement like in the community? How big is it? Can you give some color around that?
Thank you for that question, but I'm afraid that's all we have time for right now. So, but a virtual round of applause to Jasmine, please. Thanks, great pitch. I'd like to invite final presenter, last but not least. Thank you, Vita, who would talk us through semantic intelligence. So the countdown starts now.
Yes, let me show you what I have. Do you see my screen, guys? Hello?
Yes.
So, yeah, thank you. Hi, my name is Vita Stura, and I am the CEO and founder of Semantic Intelligence. And we are building AI-driven IP intelligence engine for the life sciences industry. So currently there is about 100 million patent documents already published. However, 40% of filed patents from the last year was not granted by the IPO in life sciences sector. And there are several reasons for that. First, it's a high complexity of the pharmaceutical products. There is limitations of existing technologies, but most importantly, they are limited or no budget for small and medium-sized market players to perform good quality IP analysis. So we came up with a solution which is built on our state-of-the-art technology, which allows search, analyze, and extract very complex knowledge in life sciences field, 83% faster than existing solutions in the market. So for example, scientists can search for entities such as chemicals, proteins, genes, diseases, and it also identifies and maps complex relationships between them. So competition is big and growing, which is always a good thing. However, we have several competitive advantages. One I already mentioned is our state-of-the-art technology, where we combine 5 AI technologies together, and we are currently in a final stage of patenting this method. Second, we're building first industry cross-language engine, which will allow scientists to work in 5 languages simultaneously, including the Asian languages. And also our technology allows us to deliver low-cost access to our end users. So market is growing and big. Our potential customers currently are small pharma and drug discovery companies, academia, biotechs, small startups, and also IP experts. Our revenue, our business model is subscriptions, monthly and yearly based. So we gathered together the best team that we can with extensive experience in AI technologies, life sciences, and also biopharma. So currently we are raising a round of €500,000 for launching our engine commercially in the first quarter of 2022. Our main idea is to get to on board our first paying customers and also get to the revenue point of 2 million next year. The good news is that we already secured 250 from this 500,000. So I think it's a good news for you guys. So yeah, let's bring equal opportunities for every innovator in the world. Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. And also within time, thank you, Vita. So I'll restart the clock and over to the judges. Thanks, 4 minutes on the clock.
Hey Vita, thanks for the pitch. Question, where are you starting customer-wise? Where do you want your customers to be? You said that the product, and there'll be a multi-language element to it, right? 5 languages. So why 5, and which region are you starting with for customers?
Yeah, so basically our idea is that we are starting with the life sciences clusters here in Europe because we're based in Europe, right? So for example, if we are looking on the life sciences clusters here in Europe, it's combines 6, this association covers about like 6 big clusters in different areas of Europe. And it combines about like 500,000 or potential users already. So it's a very good point where we can start. Also, we have a very good collaboration with AT Health organization, which is also a huge network of our potential customers. Currently, we are working with external sales consultancy, and we are trying to decide should we enter also US market in the same time when we launch our engine, because it's digital product and it's you don't need any installation somewhere. Yeah, so basically, of course, our main market is US market, and we are trying to figure out should we go a little bit slower and start with the Europe, which is a little bit more accessible for us, and we have more contacts here so far. But we are also looking to expand to the US as soon as possible.
Hi, thanks for the pitch. Got a quick question. You said you're looking at 2 million in revenue next year.
Yep.
Where is that mainly coming from? What country or what avenue is it, or subscription or?
Subscription, yeah. So our main business models is subscription based. We are planning to, or like customers will come 80% from the private companies, as I said, small biotechs, pharmaceutical companies, drug discovery companies, and so on. And 20% would be academical organizations like universities and institutes, who is more focused on the drug discovery at this point.
I mean, I would love to dig deeper in the team again, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah. So yeah, our core team. So I met my co-founders, Alexei and Dimitri. They have, for example, the Alexei, he has been working with the AI technology projects for more than 17 years. I believe that he's the guy, if we need to build something out of AI, he's the guy to talk with. And I'm very happy that he is co-founder of Semantic Intelligence. And Dimitri joined our company a little bit later. However, he's more involved in a hands-on real programming and getting magic out to the real world. And Dimitri has experience in working with AI technologies for more than 7 years. Also, in our core team, we have Chief Product Officer Oscar Villakanas. He actually is a brilliant guy who has experience, who has the education as a chemist and biochemist. And he has experience in working in several companies, actually in AI-driven drug discovery. This is actually the way how we met with him. And so he has both those things. He knows how to build products for the chemistry world, and he knows the fundamentals of the AI. So this is our main core team that's working daily on a project. Yes.
Thank you so much, Vita. A virtual round of applause to you. I'd like to also thank the judges. So also a virtual round of applause to all the judges for having participated in this. If I can invite the judges to click on the link in the chat, that will take you to the deliberation room where you can give final comments and come up with a winner. So thanks, and see you guys and girls shortly. So while the judges deliberate, I'd like to invite Gary Stewart to the stage. And it's been an amazing series of pitches. I've worked with startups for close to 15, 20 years now. And each time I see good quality founders, I'm always blown away. So great selection today. And each founder did an amazing job. Stewart, over to you to jump in and proceed with the rest of the afternoon. So thanks again for
thanks to
inviting us
you
back.
and Zube. You always do like an amazing job. I hope you're sticking around because we're counting on you to announce the winner. I guess you're going to the other room?
Yeah. Oh, I'll go to the other room then. Yes. And then
just remind them that we just are asking each judge to just tell us their top 3 choices, and whoever gets the most wins.
Let's do that. All right. See you all in a few. Cheers.
Yeah. Well, bye. Yeah, thanks. Bye.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Take care. Bye.
See you soon. Bye. Yeah, no, so I guess I'm here to help to pass the time. I guess I'll use the time productively. And first of all, say I think that all of the panelists that we have seen today have been amazing. So thanks to all of the panelists. I think that we've tried to cover the different areas of entrepreneurship and all of the questions that founders, particularly those that may not have the access that they may otherwise want, all of the questions that they might find useful to answer. And so we started on the first panel with focusing on investors. I think we got a lot of really great advice there, from people who really know what they're talking about. I think it was a kind of very honest discussion that focused a lot on the reality that there are structural reasons that kind of explain the numbers that are so disparate for women and minorities and LGBTQ founders, et cetera. I think the second panel was really great in the sense that really delved into kind of what angels are looking for. And I think the key insights that I took away from that is that, angels, at least the ones that we had today, are really looking for people that are somehow aligned with things that interest them. Earlier this week in the class that I'm teaching, we also had the luxury of having a guy named Mitch Kapoor come and speak to us. And so he said essentially the same thing. He's looking for a founder who's passionate about something that he also feels passionate about. So I guess that's the best advice, and to kind of also not be afraid or ashamed to kind of look within your networks to see if there are people there that might be willing to kind of give you that first check, because it's probably too early for most founders, and it's also extremely rare to actually get venture capital funding when you're a founder. So it probably makes more sense that you look to more accessible forms of funding, starting with your very own network and then looking to other things like government grants and things like that, even though some of them may prove to be, kind of obscure for the moment. There are increasingly more and more services such as FounderTribes, but there are others that kind of are giving people access to information about where they can get funding that doesn't look like venture capital. Because again, I think someone pointed out, even if you are, kind of a privileged person who went to Oxford, usually a male, it's still difficult to get venture capital funding. So we shouldn't be looking at venture capital funding as the end all be all or the only route to creating a business. There are a lot of numbers between 0 and 1 billion. Venture capitalists looking for the companies that can kind of get to the billion, but for all of the rest, and the other 99%, there are loads of other funding sources. And so we should take those a bit more seriously as well. I think the third panel, what I took away from that was that corporates are doing some really great things. And we had 2 Black women in particular kind of speaking about this with Erin. So we had Shane and we also had Lauren, or Shane and we had Lauren. And I think what I took from that is, corporates have a big role to play in terms of solving this problem about kind of underrepresentation from the vast majority of the population. We can't just rely on venture capitalists to be the ones to solve this problem. And organizations, for example, like Goldman Sachs, are really putting tremendous resources. I think the number was at least $1 billion just on the launch of GS to help to address this issue. And you also have organizations like Silicon Valley Bank that are complementing this by kind of really focusing on the educational and the networking element of it as well, even though they also have some ability to invest in founders. So the answer there is, like, don't only look to the venture capitalists, also try and figure out if some of the corporates might be able to answer some of your questions or solve some of your problems. Don't put all of your eggs in the VC basket, which I think is kind of the unfortunate approach that we see in too many ecosystems. And I think this last panel that we saw was we just saw like some really great startup pitches, and we tried to really select companies that reflect the world in which we live. So lots of female entrepreneurs, I think some really great pitches, people that come from different geographies. So it's not always just kind of like one location. You don't have to belong to just one demographic. And yeah, now I'm really excited to see what the judges are concluding. Obviously, I'm not in there with them, so I don't know what they are talking about, but I'm pretty sure that hopefully they'll make a really good decision. But regardless of the decision that they make, just remember this is only kind of like one event. There are lots of times as an entrepreneur that people are going to tell you no, or they're going to doubt your business. That's great for them. You just need to keep it moving. So whatever happens today, keep it moving. You only need to find one investor or maybe a handful of investors that really believe in you. There are going to be lots that don't, but you just need to make sure that you believe in yourself. And I think that that's what's most exciting to me about the panel that's coming up next, which is that we're going to have 4 entrepreneurs from various industries that are going to explain to us how they were able to raise a lot of money in 2 cases. In the first case, I think it's more than $2 million. In the second case, it's more than $4 million, even though they came from backgrounds that don't typically look like the ones that get funded. So in the first case, Chris, who raised $2 million, is from he's Lebanese and he's non-binary. And then we have in the second case a founder, the CEO of Definely, who has raised about $4 million, even though he's a Black founder. And then we'll hear also from Grace, and then as well from Gabrielle. So, and do they look like I did my job? I talked a lot.
Thank you for filling time.
So now
amazing. So we do have a winner. Drum roll. The winner of the pitch competition is Ohana, Jasmine. So if we can invite Jasmine to the stage. Do you want to say a few words?
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Oh yeah, no, thank you so much. This is obviously something as I've I thrive with, but I have an autoimmune diagnosis with MS, and just seeing the way in which that, you know, we are positioned as women and as Black founders in this day and age to really push ourselves forward and help other women around us and help them thrive with their lives. I truly believe in this. Sorry, I wasn't really expecting that, so I was like, I don't know what to say.
No, it's brilliant.
I was going to say, Jasmine, that it was only like, I think 2 days ago that you wrote me a WhatsApp and said, hey, Gary, we're in a chat group together. I forgot to send in the pitch, like it's too late. And so we kind of saw your
I know, I just did my deck like an hour ago, so thank you very much.
Great,
but
well
yeah,
done.
I'm very passionate about it, and I think it's really, I think it's really important, especially as like, you know, when we're speaking to men about this as well. You know, it's so important. Ask your parents, your mum, your sister, your cousins, your partners, everyone around you. You know, what do they think of the state of the healthcare system for women, and how can we improve that? And we're so happy for any you know, any feedback. So yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. As you continue to live boldly and authentically, you continue to inspire. So well done. Congratulations for winning the pitch. And I believe Gary has another panel to run now. So I'll say my goodbye. It's Unzibe Ufodike signing out. Been a pleasure. Enjoy the rest of the event.
Congratulations again, Jasmine.